Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Fabrizio Sanchez, and today I would like to talk a little bit about a topic that is very hot. It has been very hot over the last years, I would say. I've seen very hot discussions around this. People that defend one side of the conversation and people defending the other side. And I decided, hey, it might be useful to put out there my insights, and maybe that's going to be helpful to somebody. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we get into the actual conversation, I just would like to kindly ask you to hit that subscribe button so that you can be up to date with everything that is coming up in this channel. So what I'm gonna do today, I would like to provide some insights and some ideas around the discussion. Should I focus on getting certified, or should I be focused on getting formal education, right? So that conversation has been happening for years now, and I still have this conversation with, I've been mentoring people throughout my career, and it is interesting that everyone asks the same question because they're getting started, right? They're getting into the market, and then they would like to do the right thing in terms of upskilling themselves and getting more skills and feel ready for the next opportunity in their careers. So that's a very fair question to ask to a mentor, and I've been answering that for quite some time now. But basically, if you know me, you are aware that I come from a very formal education, right? So I had a degree on computer science, then I had the chance to have a master degree on digital signal processing under electrical engineering, bioinformatics. And then I started a PhD, but I decided to put that on hold for a little bit because, I didn't want, I did want to feel the market experience. So I decided to, start my career as a programmer, and then never came back to the academia. But long story short, I'm a very strong defensor of the formal education, because I truly think that what that thing gives you is much more than only mastering equations and algorithms and everything. It opens up your mind to how your market really works. And that's going to be critical for your success moving forward, because sometimes you're going to get into scenarios where you don't know how to navigate, and knowing what's behind the scenes, and knowing what drives everything is going to be a key decision factor for you to navigate through those certain situations and uncertain problems that you're going to be demanded to solve. But at the same time, I do recognize that the market is different today, right? So today companies, because we do have this huge gap of professionals, right? So if we had every university across the globe putting professionals out there, we would still have a gap in terms of how many programmers we would need to keep the world going and such. So the numbers are really big when it comes to the gap that we have for professionals in IT, especially moving forwards, moving towards roles that are not even well defined, like what's going to happen with artificial intelligence, right? So the certification approach seems to be a good answer from the market to that gap, which means I'm going to enable you in a subset of skill sets, right? So that you're going to be able to perform a good work on that given subset of skill sets. And if companies out there are looking for people to perform specifically a job that is based on that subset of skills, then you're going to be able to apply for that and you're going to be able to succeed a lot. And then from there, if you decide you can do something else, right, expand your capabilities in terms of skill sets, which is totally fine, and I think makes a lot of sense based upon the progression the market is taking. We are having more people leaning towards specialization and less towards generalization, right? So my advice would be, it's kind of hard, and I'm totally open in the comments if you'd like to stress that conversation a little bit further. Please be my guest. Use the comments for this. But what I would say is, this is what I've been providing in terms of advice to the people that I've been mentoring over the years, which is, if you have the opportunity to go through a formal education, please do. Because formal education is gonna, as I said earlier, is gonna open up your mind, is gonna give you so much insights about how this technology world works, what's behind everything, and is gonna give you some basis for you to move sideways, if you'd like, in your career, because you know how everything works, right? So you have the idea, you know the possibilities in each sub-area. So if you have the possibility to go through a formal education, please do it. That's gonna be undoubtedly something that you're going to extract a lot of value from. However, formal education is very expensive and it's time consuming, and it's going to take you 4 to 6 years to get ready to perform a work properly. So if you don't have that time, if you don't have that ability to do so at this point in time, get started with certifications. I like certifications a lot. There are people out there that argue certifications, saying that, hey, certifications don't attest that you in fact know something. The only thing they do is to kind of pass along the perception that you know, because you can simply look into this, record in your mind those questions and the answers, and then you're going to do a test, and then you're going to pass that test. But that doesn't mean that you have the experience to work with those topics, which to a certain degree is true. But what certifications do, and you cannot argue against this, is it gets your mind wrapped up around a given subset of skill sets, and that's very interesting, and that's very helpful, especially for big companies that are, in a daily basis, are creating more roles that are skill-centric, not, generalistic-centric. So if you go to Google, Microsoft, Meta, and all those big companies out there, you don't have to have a formal degree to work for them anymore. As long as you are able to prove that you understand what's going to be requested to you in that job, and if you are able to prove some experience that meet those skill sets, then you're good to go, right? However, formal education will always be a differentiator for you. So let's imagine a situation where you went through the interview process, right? So you are at the last round of analysis from the HR, and then the HR finds that you and another candidate are, great for the position. But you holds on a computer science degree, let's say, and the other candidate doesn't, right? You both are great, but you do hold that off and the other candidate doesn't. So the likelihood that the HR, and I'm speaking this totally empirically, I'm not backed up by any data, by any real knowledge about this. It's just perception. This is just empirical, is observation that I've been doing throughout the years, right? So the likelihood that the HR is going to lean towards the candidate that has formal education tied to it is bigger because, I can understand the reasons, because that candidate went through a lot, went through much more in terms of he or she was exposed to much more content and experiences than the person who holds off the certification. Even if the person that holds off the certifications had more practical experience, right? So that's my advice. So if you have the chance to go get a formal education, a degree on something, do it. This is gonna be useful for you. If you don't, please get your focus directed to certification, and at some point in your journey you decide, hey, now that I have my job, I'm already doing well in my career, I think it is missing to me some sort of formal education, right? A degree. Then you go get it. But I don't see any problem on if you're not sure about what you would like to do. And that's another thing too, right? Sometimes you're not firm on what you'd like to do. Should I go to engineering? Should I go to computer science? Should I go to something else, digital marketing? I don't know. So until you have the certainty, a certification can be a good path for you to take on. So if that's your case, take on the certifications, start working, gaining experience, and if at some point in the journey you feel that you need something else, then you can go back to the formal education. You can always get your degree once you're making your money, once you're making your career progress well. So that's my perception. Formal education is important, but not necessary anymore for you to start working and creating a career. But at some point, if you decide that, and if you feel that a formal degree could be important, then you go get it. But certifications I like the approach. I think the future of education actually is leaning towards that, because this new generation, they're much more focused on just-in-time education, which means if I need to learn something to perform a task, I'm gonna go learn that, perform that task, make money out of it, and that's it, right? So I think the future is gonna be bigger towards the certifications and the micro-credentials approach. That's how they call it out there. But I like it. But formal education has its value, and you're never gonna hear from me that formal education shouldn't be a thing for a profession. Okay, so thank you very much. Please let me know your comments about this in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.